you guys? It's another day here in the garage, and well, as you guys seen in the last clip, I pulled down the whole subframe, and now, well, it's time for reinforcement. And also, I think it's time to do all the subframe bushings as well. Now I'm gonna go ahead and jump on the subframe bushings simply because I ordered some from Facebook Market, and I just want to make sure that those are the right size that would just simply fit in there, because the guy from Facebook Market told me that he purchased those with the car. So the guy gave them to him with the car when he bought an E36. Now I gotta make sure that it just fits on this E36 chassis. So I'm gonna just go ahead and remove all the old bushings. And by doing so, I gotta remove everything. So I gotta pull out the diff from the subframe. I gotta pull the calipers. I gotta pull the trailing arms. Simply because I'd rather just use my press than having to use a torch and individually sledgehammer. That being said, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and hop onto this E36 and let's get to it. All right, so we have a little bit of a problem here, but I'm pretty sure I could fill it up with some weld. Let's see, right here, I don't know if you can see it, they try to drill a hole into it. I don't know why. It's kind of haggard. I mean, it makes no sense as to why you would do that. But it has some material left, not gonna lie. It might even be saved still. But if I could fill this up and then drill the same hole again, should be solid. But yeah, it's pretty damaged. But finally got diff out. I'm gonna go ahead and continue on the rest of the stuff. Sorry. So I froze these things to mount them onto the subframe easily without having to press them in. So you simply go like this. And that one's in there too. You can pretty much get a 2x4. Then should have brought my tripod, but all bushings are in. Simple. Don't have to get a press. You just have to put these in the freezers overnight, and it shrinks it. It makes it more solid, so it doesn't expand no more. With the heat, it expands. So when you freeze it, it kind of shrinks it, like science. Well, I mean, I failed science. So anyways, but it just shrinks it and then it makes it easier to slip in. These ones were really easy to just slip in there. These were kind of harder to put in, but solid, you guys. And these are ISR solid mount bushings. And there you go. Oops, kind of got it dirty, but it's fine, you guys. All right, so I finally mounted my front diff bushing. It seems to be pressed at that sort of way. It has like a little bit of a taper on the top end, which is kind of odd because it doesn't look like it's going fully flush. It just has a taper the same way this bushing insert has a taper as well. You could tell by the camera. But I think I pressed it in a little bit too much. You can see that it sticks out a good amount, probably an eighth of an inch. So I'm hoping I don't have to pull it out. I mean, it's not like solid metal bushing, so it's not a big deal. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the other bushings on my new diff that I'm gonna be purchasing. And then we'll see if I have to either back it out a bit or leave it as is. Either way, it should move front or back depending on how flush it will mount towards the front mounting point of the diff. But other than that though, that seems to be completed. Now it's off to the trailing arms. Well, there's definitely a lot of clunk in this area because it's loose. Yep. So luckily I got these new ones here and I figured out what to get for these upper ball joints and rotors because the rotors are kind of done and worn down. So I'm gonna go ahead and get FCB Euro upper ball joints and rotors for the rears only. And the bottom one is gonna be fine. It's pretty sturdy still, but yeah, I'm gonna have to replace these ones. And by doing so, I think I'm gonna have to torch everything, especially these, torch them up and disassemble all of this over here. And I think that would solve my issue with all these components being worn down. So it's a good time to upgrade everything, I guess. All right, you guys, so that video didn't quite end finishing off the second trailing arm. And it's because when I did the first one, I busted my finger and my thumb. Now they're covered up because I'm about to lube the trailing arm bushings, but I might lose a finger now, but it happens, I guess. So I've already removed both trailing arm bushings, as you've seen in the little fast-paced time-lapse clip. And well, I cleaned out and honed it just with a little bit of a sandpaper Dremel, I would say, and came out pretty clean. I'm gonna show you guys real quick how it looks. So as you can see, both sides pretty much look like that. It will just remove any rubber that was left in there or surface rust that has accumulated. You notice that those trailing arms were bad, the bushings itself. So if we go over here to my garage, I'm gonna show you just what I'm gonna be adding on to. Now, these are 95A polyurethane bushings. They're for hardcore street or track use. And yeah, they're pretty simple, straightforward. You just slap these on and I'm pretty sure it'll slip right in. But I'm gonna put some bearing grease all around here and inside this area. That way it keeps it from squeaking. And well, that is pretty much it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that in just a few moments. But there is some things that I have to tell you guys about. Well, I showed you guys how there was actually a pre-drilled hole, and then you can see that there's existing hole. Let's just say I'm was processing this and I was like, why do I have to put a nut behind it? Well, it makes sense. These guys drilled a bigger hole through the diff and removed all the existing threads. I'm pretty sure 100% they stripped the threads on there. That's why they decided to do that. And I'm pretty sure they drilled a hole on the rubber bushing, which then ripped off the eyelid bushing. Because think about it, the bushing on the stock OEM ones, there's an aluminum there's an aluminum type of spacer in between with the diameter for the bolt, and it's wrapped around with rubber. Now, if you drill that hole and you're forcing it and it gets stuck, well, you're pretty much gonna force the spacer itself in the middle of the eyelid of the rubber to spin freely and resulting to ripping off the rubber between the contact of the aluminum spacer and the rubber in the outer diameter. And that's why they have a clunky noise, which smacked onto the tunnel of the transmission, which now left to this, replacing all the subframe bushings and making this diff quite useless. And well, yeah, you guys, so stay tuned and let's get this thing done, because tomorrow is another Monday and always grinding it on the weekends, dude. It gets quite exhausting, that's for sure. But I also love building and gotta get it done. Oh, by the way, got a fresh haircut. Yeah, I got tired of the mullet and it looked a little bit messy, so I just gave up on it. Good start for 2022, I guess. All right, so I finally inserted the polyurethane bushings and they slip just like a glove. They don't have play, that's for sure, but they just slipped right in. Do want to touch it, but I just removed my gloves, so don't want any grease on me. I definitely hate dealing with grease. What's going on, you guys? It is another day here in the garage, and well, gotta say we are not just done yet with the bushings. I have to go ahead and do the diff bushings because I just picked up a new diff yesterday, and this diff happens to not be abused, which is the best thing you could ever hear, because it came out of a granny driven automatic transmission 325i. So this right here has 391 gears. Let me just show you. So this is the old one where you seen how they drilled a hole in the front, pretty much ruined the bolt, the mounting setup for the front diff bushing. And here's the new one where it is unabused open diff 391 gears. So I definitely had to remove the cap and weld it myself, but I'd rather weld it myself than buy someone else's welded diff. And I feel more secure welding it myself because I've had the experience. I'm not sure about the other people that have welded the diff, had an experience before, so I'd rather just take my own chances and weld it myself. So I feel great buying this diff. Now, that is pretty much it for bushings. Actually, I'm lying. So I bought more bushings from Rock Auto, and it's just to take care of the small things like the upper trailing arm bushings for the upper control arm. I'm gonna take care of the inner control arm bushing, and I'm also taking care of the lower outer bushing for the control arm on the trailing arm. And that is pretty much it. I did also get from Rock Auto rotors as well. I got fluids, and I'll bring all of this up once the parts arrive. But for now, diff bushings will be it for today. But in order to do that, I have to disassemble it and remove the fluids from in there. But it's not a big deal. I'm gonna go ahead and probably do that in a couple minutes. But I also got to explain more stuff, but I feel like I shouldn't jump ahead. I should just continue on with what I'm currently trying to do, and then I'll move along and explain the rest of the parts that I'm gonna be able to get to eventually. So yeah, you guys stay tuned and let's go ahead and take this thing apart and get some new bushings onto that thing. Sounds pretty damn good. So you guys, I actually have some news, and I'm not sure if it's good news or bad news, but I also checked while I'm continuing on fixing this thing that it's in February 6th, the drift event, of course, and it's $100 to drift there, so it's not bad. But there is some requirements that I have to do to get this thing on here, and there's 4 of them that simply don't meet those requirements. And that simply is, there's leaks. Rear main seal is leaking. Not bad, but not noticeable either. It's just if you jack the car up, you'll definitely notice a drip overnight. So not too bad. I mean, I'm pretty sure once it's hot and running temp, I'm pretty sure it leaks like, that bad. So leaks, that's one issue. Next up, FIA bucket seats. Don't have certified bucket seats for racing, I guess, and nor harness bar that's FIA approved because it's homemade, dude. Elijah just showed me that. Damn, it's haggard. And I also, what's this other thing? I'm cracked windshield. I have a cracked windshield, you guys. So don't know if I want to replace a cracked windshield. I know it. I should. I'm sure everywhere that I go, they're gonna be like, "Fix your cracked windshield, man." Like, but I'm pretty deep in spending wise. I'm $1,500 to $1,600 in now. And there's still more things to fix, like the gas tank, and then there's a cracked windshield, the bucket seats. And so I posted up in my story saying, "Rip, I'm not passing tech." And it's in a week and a half, so yeah. Anyway, so one of the tech guys on Instagram DM'd me, and I told him my issues of what I just bought this car. It's a ship box, and there's a lot for me to catch up on. And he said, "Hold up, he told me I'm the tech," and he overviewed it, and he's like, "You know what, man? If you only have a windshield and you fix that leak, I'll let you through, but I'm totally fine with the windshield, but that leak, dude, the drop of trans, the amount of bad luck I had last year with transmissions. I don't even want to touch a transmission, dude. I know this transmission setup is probably easy to work on, but that's currently one of the things I'm currently dealing with. Prepping for a drift event that might not be able to accept me on a drift event if I don't meet those requirements, or at least the tech guy's requirements. So stay put with me, you guys, and my goal is to still continue fixing this thing, because I'm not gonna leave this thing on jack stands. So my goal is to get this thing done, and well, then at least drive it on the street and register and probably get SAREF, but go for a test drive at least and enjoy it, and slowly fix this thing to get it abled to go to a track event. But that's all I gotta say, you guys. Let's go ahead and continue on this bushing on the diff, and stay tuned. So I finally did the diff bushings, that you can see right there. Pretty sick, pretty sick. So I pressed those in, pretty solid now, ready to go. And I'm gonna go ahead and set this on the side. Now, that pretty much sums up everything for the bushings. Now, there are more bushings that I'm gonna get to, which will be on the trailing arm section from the upper and outer part of the upper control arm and the inner control arm bushings, and also the lower bushings for the lower control arm, inner and outer. But that's just little things I could take care of myself. I'm not sure if you guys are very interested in me doing that. If not, then, well, might not grab the footage for it. If I do, then you'll obviously see content rolling in about these bushings getting swapped out. But other than that, though, you guys, I think that pretty much does it for bushings. They're pretty much the main bushing things that people usually get, like Garage Statistics bushing kit, which is actually a great deal. And you get Honey, I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. You get a 10% off discount, and you get them for pretty much $260, a whole bushing kit with subframes, trailing arms. Oh, actually front bushings too. You get the whole deal. Now, didn't really mess up on that, but I wanted to go with solid mount bushings, and well, there you have it. I have solid mount bushings from SLR, not SLR. I forgot the brand name, but either way, you guys, there's a whole kit on Garage 6's, a whole bushing kit that's pretty much $260 from front to back, which is great. Now, I didn't get that, but it's fine. I know for those that want polyurethane 95A bushings, that's the way to go. not, then you can go like me, how I did diff bushings, trailing arm bushings, and then I went with solid mount bushings just because I like more of a rigid feel to it. It always feels good. But I know you can't go wrong with polyurethane bushings. I mean, a lot of people recommend it just because it actually holds somewhat vibrations and prevents things from snapping, as into if you get solid mount bushings, you tend to snap a lot of other components. That's why a little bit of Part Shop Max. I heard a friend talking about how Part Shop Max parts are bad, but they're not really bad. It's just people tend to upgrade bushings only and don't upgrade anything else on it. Like my RX-7 right here, it's upgraded top down, full Part Shop Max components, and I got Ronin Speedworks 488 with forged axles and some upgraded hubs as well. So this thing's all suited up to handle power, but even then they're solid mounted, so I'm sure I'd have some areas where it might have a weakness to it. But polyurethane solid mount, it's all preferences, you guys, and honestly I'd go with mix match, just because in some areas I would want it a lot more harder than, you know, in trailing arms I wouldn't want it solid bushings. I'd rather have a little bit of flexibility just because it grabs most of the momentum and just a patch of the road a lot more. So if I keep it stiff, then obviously I'll probably rupture the mounting tabs on the trailing arm or shred the bolts are bolted up towards the E36. Now, that being said, you guys, like I said, I'm pretty much done with the whole bushing thing, and I'm hoping that I jump onto the reinforcement, which should be the part 3 of this video. Reinforcement kit, weld the diff, and take care of the other things around this vehicle that are pretty bad, which probably might be a part 4, but I'm trying to keep it as 3 videos, as short as possible, uploaded within 1 week, show you guys the content that I just keep rolling out. But yeah, you guys, if you guys enjoyed this bushing video, give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe. If there's things that I missed that you guys would like to see, comment down below. Let me know what you guys want to, you know, see in the next videos or so, or should I be more in detail? Should I just not put too much time lapse on it? Should I explain what's actually going on? Am I lacking a certain thing? So yeah, you guys, feel free to give me your honest opinion. I'll hear you guys out, and I'll try to, you know, move towards that goal. So yeah, enough said, you guys. Hope you guys have a great night, or good morning, or good evening, and stay boosted.